Caitlin Clark's teammate pinpoints why all eyes must stay on the injured roster before playoffs. Despite a season riddled with injuries and the loss of Caitlin Clark, the Fever clawed their way into the postseason. They even wrapped up their regular season on a high, stringing together 3 wins, including one over the Minnesota Lynx. But now, the challenge only gets tougher as they square off against the defensive powerhouse Atlanta Dream on their home court. ESPN analytics aren't doing Indiana any favors either, projecting a 66% chance for Atlanta to take Game 1. And sure, with the Dream boasting the league's second-best defensive rating and offensive rating at 98.9 and 108.2, respectively, the odds look stacked. Still, Indiana isn't just leaning on stats. According to Aaliyah Boston, the wisdom of their sideline players could be a secret weapon. I think just looking at the injured squad itself, they just have a lot of knowledge. And so for us, just being able to listen to them taking what they see. 'Cause obviously, just them watching is going to be a different view than us on that court. So super happy to have them with us, said Boston during the practice media availability. Sure enough, Clark, Ari McDonald, Sydney Colson, and Chloe Bibby were spotted boarding the plane with the roster, determined to provide support from the sidelines. Clark has even taken up something of a player-coach role in recent weeks, constantly giving her teammates input. Missing from that group, however, was Sophie Cunningham, though she had a good reason. Last night, Cunningham got into the University of Missouri Hall of Fame. I did get inducted to the Hall of Fame, but I promise you that this is an award for all of them to get me to where I'm at, she said, reflecting on the honor. Still, even from afar, her voice echoes in the locker room. On her Show Me Something podcast, Cunningham had already circled Atlanta as the ideal opponent. Atlanta maybe has the least amount of playoff experience, if I'm not mistaken. And I think our team does too. So I think that would be our best matchup, she explained. And that ought to give some confidence to a team that might have been biting their nails thinking of Atlanta's prowess. As H.C. Stephanie recently said, we've got to be really disciplined. We've got to make sure we find the right shot on the offensive end. We've got to make sure the ball continues to move. And we get defenses in rotation. The Fever's biggest advantage, though, lies in their star center. Aaliyah Boston isn't just Indiana's cornerstone. She's their X-factor. WNBA legend Sue Bird made it clear that this series could very well hinge on her dominance. It might come down to, can Aaliyah Boston kind of have an impact, not just in the paint, but the way she playmakes against Atlanta's bigs, Bird said. The head-to-head series between Indiana and Atlanta this season ended in a 2-2 tie, but things look far different now. Injuries have hammered the Fever since July, placing all the weight on Boston's shoulders. WNBA insider Sabrina Merchant believes that might be exactly where the series gets a decision. I think about last year when they played Connecticut. Aaliyah Boston basically played Brianna Jones off the court in that series. And now Brianna Jones is in Atlanta, and I just don't think she can guard Boston. I don't think Stephanie White thinks that Jones can guard Boston now that she's on the other side of that matchup, having been Jones's coach last season, Merchant explained. Boston's numbers only strengthen that argument. Against the Dream this year, she averaged 13.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 5.0 assists over their 4 meetings. Across the season, she delivered 17 double-doubles and set a new franchise record with 356 rebounds. While they may have an X-factor in Boston, the growing list of injuries for the Fever side is a concerning factor. Caitlin Clark's team continues to deplete due to injuries. Just when it seemed like the Indiana Fever couldn't take another hit, the injury bug struck again. Aaliyah Boston has leaned on the wisdom of her sideline teammates for the postseason. But the list of absentees just keeps growing. After already losing 5 major contributors, the Fever announced that center Damiris Dantas has entered concussion protocol. She will miss Game 1 against the Atlanta Dream on Sunday. She becomes the 6th Fever player lost since their last matchup with Atlanta in July. Dantas' absence stings. In the final regular season game against the Minnesota Lynx, she put up 10 points and 6 rebounds in just 17 minutes. With Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, and Chloe Bibby already sidelined, losing Dantas proves to be another obstacle to Indiana's already fragile postseason hopes. Head coach Stephanie White has been clear about her long-term vision. "We want to be a team that is competing for championships." But this latest setback raises the question of just how much depth the Fever can rely on. Don't expect White to suddenly stretch her bench. Playoff rotations tend to shrink, and Indiana is likely to stick with the core. Starting five of Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Odyssey Sims, and Kelsey Mitchell is a no-brainer. Off the bench, Ariel Powers, Shea Petty, and Brianna Turner will have more responsibility. With the Fever's frontcourt rotation now in flux, all eyes turn back to Aaliyah Boston. Once again, the third-year star will have to shoulder the load as Indiana prepares for a brutal test against Atlanta's defense.